And here's what not to do.
Oh, hey guys, knock that off. Not today. Right? You know you should be reading. Every time I have to tell you, right? Oh, what the?
Hey, g'day teacher geeks. I want to share something out of my trusty teacher tool bag here. I never go to any class without this. Now, in my school, we're not as lucky to have our own classroom, so we have to move from class to class, which is why I sort of carry all of my best gadgets in this one bag. It's this bell. Real simple, but don't you get tired of standing at the class and saying, class, excuse me, attention, at the beginning of a lesson, or when they're doing group work and you want to get their attention back again? Real simple, right? Just ring the bell, wait for them to quiet down, and then you save your voice, you don't have to yell. I feel really powerless when I'm trying to yell and talk over students, and it's just a little bit frustrating, so I just found this. Real simple, it's quite polite, it's not an abrasive noise, and I can get attention. Now, I haven't had to, sorry, I shouldn't laugh because I know some teachers have got really bad behavior management problems. I'm sorry, I've been teaching for 11 years in a very nice, lovely school with lovely Japanese and international students who are very compliant, and I ring the bell and everything just comes down to a nice simmer. But in my years where I didn't have that luxury and you ring the bell and the noise just carries on, or you ring the bell and everything just happens, kids are throwing stuff and yelling and screaming and they won't listen. Here's what I would do, and I wouldn't do this, right? It's just going to add to the noise, it's going to drown it out, it's not going to work. I think this is what we call, in our teacher training, they called it a room sweep. Start on this side of the room and go around and just state everything positive, or all the students that are doing something that you like, that they should be doing, right? Like listening, okay? So I might go, right, give it a second, say, hey, thank you, Stephen, brilliant, I can see you're listening. Excellent, Jackie, awesome, you took a sleep, Mark, thank you. And you go around. And just giving that praise puts you in a good mood. It rewards the students who are doing the right things. And also you'll notice, I think, in my experience at least, that the other students will start following suit, right? And you may do 2 rounds, do another sweep, right? Find some new students who are doing what you've asked, right? So you ring the bell. Alrighty guys, take a seat, take out your books and your pen, right? Fantastic, thank you, Mark, you got your pen in your hand, you're ready to go, that's great, awesome. I can't make up names off the top of my head. So you do a room sweep. Now, on the 3rd time around, maybe you'll do, they call this a state the obvious in my teacher training, but you just state what a kid's doing, what they shouldn't be doing. You say, Gabrielle, you're still standing up. I've asked you to sit down. You don't tell them off. You don't get angry. You don't raise your voice. You just state what they're doing, right? And then give them something, tell them what they should be doing instead. And do that a couple of times. In my really rough teacher training days, when I had a pretty rough school, I spent 15 minutes at the front of the class doing this. Now, that wasn't a good use of 15 minutes. I was a very inexperienced teacher. I know now that one of the best ways I can engage my students is to have cool content and engaging activities, and something that they want to get into. And part of the behavior management isn't just about getting their attention, but it's maintaining it as well. So, more of that later perhaps. I'm going to admit I'm not a behavior management guru because I've gotten soft over the last few years. But anyway, that's what I would say. This bell, save your voice. If you've got compliant kids, it's lovely. It'll work really well. And it does, if you've got rougher students or like a classroom that's a little bit more difficult, then you can use that as a key, as a prompt for students to do what they should be doing. And then, as I said, you can do a room sweep and state the obvious. I used to do this in my class. I had a grade 10 English class, and they knew the first 10 minutes of the lesson was always reading. And because my classrooms were a little far apart, I'd just be 2 or 3 minutes late. So I set up that 10 minutes just to give me a buffer at the beginning of the lesson, so they knew they should be doing something. Invariably, when I would walk in, only half the class would be doing something that, only half the class would be doing what they should be doing. And here's what not to do.
Oh, hey guys, knock that off. Not today, right? You know you should be reading. Every time I have to tell you, right? Oh, what the?
And this used to just start the lesson off in a bad way. I'd be grumpy with the kids, I'd be grumpy with me. It doesn't build the relationship or the rapport. Until suddenly I thought, you know what? I'm just going to say the positives. And so I would come into the class and I would just do what I just said about doing a room sweep and stating the obvious. And I would do that once, and because our students are so lovely, everyone would sit down and they would start reading. I remember doing this when I was a substitute teacher about 15 years ago in an average school, but in a Friday, last period of the day, a math class, a remedial math class with a bunch of kids who were struggling. They were in their mid to late teens learning basic multiplication. And the headmaster essentially gave me the lesson plan or worksheet and said, good luck. So I said to myself, I fired myself up and said, right, I'm going to go in there and I'm just going to be positive. I'm just going to walk around. I'm going to be nothing but positive. And man, it worked. Like the first 30 minutes of that lesson, the kids were quiet. The kids were silent. The helper teacher in there was kind of blown away. She's like, oh my God, these kids are never like this. This is great. And this was just a new face, whatever, just walking around. Hey, you got a pen in your hand. Fantastic. You wrote your name. That's brilliant. And I was Captain Positivity. I won't tell you what happened in the second half of the lesson. I don't know where I lost it, but I lost it. And the kids, started with a little push and then a shove. And then because I don't know their names, and there's 30 of them, and it's Friday last period. And it got to the point where I was just standing back and just kind of making sure no one fell out a window. All right. But first 30 minutes was a success. All right. So anyway, I think that's possibly the best reminder here is to focus on the positives. I've really tried to adopt that with my teaching and even working with colleagues and being in school in general and even in life. It's very easy to focus on the negatives. They stand out. But if we change our mindset, or when I changed my mindset and focused on the positives, it just put me in a better mindset and I feel like it made me a better teacher. And at least it's made me a happier person. So I hope that advice is helpful. If you've got any other comments or any other requests for advice or tips that you might like, please leave a comment. Leave a like and a subscribe and all that stuff. If you're watching this soon after it's released, you'll see our community is very small right now, but I'm hoping to make it grow. All right, thanks, cheers, and see you next time. P.S. Apologies if I'm speaking fast. I'm really trying to work on speaking slow. When I get excited, all the words just come out at once, and I'm working on it. Thanks.